All right, Shalom. We're the Hebrew Israelites. Come out here week in and week out. Prophesy the downfall of the third Babylon, aka America. But first and foremost, I want to say call Halayim, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, where that's who I learned from. That's who taught me the truth. Who ruled well. Salutations to the Bakiyar, the elect, the 144,000. That's 12,000 men from each of the 12 tribes of Israel. 12 tribes of Israel consist of you so-called blacks, Latinos, and indigenous of America. The 144,000 being the governing body within the 1/3. The rest of the 1/3 comprises of elect men, women, and children. Shalom to those Israelites scattered due to the diaspora and also the triangular trade. So our people come looking like different ethnicities, having various complexions. So it's not a black thing. We're not the black Hebrew Israelites. We're just Hebrew Israelites. Shalom to those that died in this truth. It says the dead should be raised up first. Those that will be accompanying Yahweh Shah on his return, including our king, King Mashah, who is King David. And as always, it's an honor and privilege, honor and blessing to continue to do this work. The water Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah Ba'ashem Harachakwadash for answering my prayers and permitting me to do such. Baba Kashah Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah Ba'ashem Harachakwadash. Allow us to be an edifying camp to at least one member of the elect. So, I wanted to go into, you got these YouTubers, you got these podcasters, you got these, internet personalities, which I'm sure there's a card for it. And the card I'm talking about is the 1995 Illuminati card game, where they said, it wasn't even windy until I came out here, man. So where they set these individuals up, to spill their rhetoric, you got one dude in Clarksville, Tennessee, who travels to Nashville. He calls himself Chud, the Builder. Going around spewing derogatory terms to Jake. You got the Gypsy King. I don't know where he's located at. He spills his rhetoric. You got the Egyptian, from South Sudan, Myron Gaines. Whether that's his real name or it's not, I don't know too many Egyptian niggas with the last name Gaines. But come to find out, a lot of these individuals are set up, man. Look at Alex Jones, man. Alex Jones was an individual set up, so you got to watch out for the psyop, man. And really all these mother effers are a bunch of coconuts, man. Or they're outright Edomites, or they could just be confused. There's a lot of Edomites that are actually Israelites that, are probably in the KKK, man. Which the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan, it goes back to the Moors, which was something that was stolen from so-called black people, just like the term cowboy, man. That was a term given to Jake back in the 1800s because the white boy was calling himself a cattleman. Don't take my word for it, look it up. And this hatred that has been prevalent has been around for centuries, man. Even before these two individuals were even born, which the individuals I'm talking about is Jacob and Esau. Because oftentimes you have are people questioning, you know, what's the deal with all the hate? You know, and hey, man, this ain't nothing compared to what they're going to experience in the kingdom of heaven, man. All the slavery that we went through, all the hatred, all the name calling, is going to be pale in comparison to what's going to happen to them, man. Especially when Yahweh Shah puts on that body that he was in when he was being beaten, scorpion flag, because, you know, I went in and did a little research because I had that dream a couple of weeks ago that shook me up tremendously. But I did a little research on how, you know, the Romans would flog people, and they had one that was called a scorpion that will, you know, grip into your flesh and rip it out, man. So every year that Yahweh Shah puts on that body, man, and we're gonna be sorrowful, we're gonna be mourning and weeping, we're gonna be on our knees crying. But after that, what do you think is going to happen to Esau, man? Because after all that sorrow, after all that heartbreak and those emotions that you're going to get the emotion of wanting to fuck Esau up, man. You know? So Esau, he's going to get it way worse in the kingdom of heaven because he's going to serve 1,000 years of slavery. And psychologically, that's going to be, you know, very detrimental to his psyche, because after each and every day passes, it's another day that's going to lead to his extermination, man. But this is the book of Genesis, chapter 25, verse 20. It says, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padanaram, the sister to Laban, the Syrian. And Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife because she was barren, meaning she couldn't get pregnant. And Yahweh was entreated of him, and you know that happens a lot, man. You could be with a woman for X amount of years, and you know she never gets pregnant, man. You know, that's why it's all peradventure. It's all up to the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, man. You know, but in this case, you know, it was predestined for her to get pregnant, man. And it was predestined for her to be barren because it would have to, you know, certain events would have had to transpire in order to name Isaac Laughter. You know? It says, well, Salakia, going back to Abraham and Sarai, right? But it says, and Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife, which Isaac was Yahweh Shai, because she was barren, which Isaac does mean laughter, Salakia, you know, because that's the son of Abraham and Sarai. It says, and Yahweh was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived, meaning she became pregnant, and the children struggled together within her. So ever since the womb, these two individuals, Jacob and Esau, were always fighting, man. And there's no different than what's going on here today, man. Right? That's why it's always, you know, you have these heathen nations, they always question, why is it always black and white? Because this is how Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah set it up, man. From the foundation of the world, for these two nations to war against each other. And we're still at war. Now, what they did was they pacified our people by giving them gifts to destroy their mind, to keep their mind off the oppression that they're on. And then you have this rhetoric that goes on where, you know, they lie and say that we're not oppressed. You know? But when you look at their actions and, you know, what they have a pattern of doing, they have been oppressing all these nations, man. And then tell you to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Everybody has equal footing. Everybody has the same opportunities. And those are all lies, man. It's prophetically impossible for all to have the same opportunities, man. You know? Now, some do better than others, but the ones that are doing better than others, oftentimes they're the ones that took a bag. They're the ones that sold out. They're the ones that got on that casting couch. They're the ones that sold their soul, man. You know? And then you have others that are not going to bow down their knee to Baal, to these Edomites, man. You know, they're going to maintain their integrity, man. You know, but this is Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 7. It says, surely oppression maketh a wise man mad. Right, man. So when you understand that you're being oppressed, you're being mistreated, there's a lot of malpractice, you know, it's going to make you angry, man. It's going to make you mad. It's going to make you want to go postal, man. Because all in all, these nations, they want to live in peace, man. They want to live in some sort of tranquility. But here comes the devil that is taking peace from the earth, man. He wants to rule with an armed fist. He wants to subjugate these nations. He wants to oppress people. He wants full control. He wants to be God on earth and reverence as such. That's why he put the new founding fathers right in front of your faces, man. He took a concept out of a movie and put it right in front of your faces, man. And they call themselves MAGA. You know? And what did they do in that movie? They went after the people on this side, man. They went about having a furious effort to destroy the people on this side. And this is the nature of these damn devils, because this is what they're set up to do, man. To be that antagonist. It says, and a gift destroyeth the heart, which your heart is your mind. So he gives you certain trinkets, man. Certain gifts. He gives you Section 8. He gives you EBT. You know, he gives you cheap gas. He gives you cheap commodities. You know, he allows you to go to school. He allows you to roam within a state. You know? He won't let you go outside of the country without a passport, without permission. He won't let you do certain things without a license or to be certified, because he still wants to always implement that control, man. And then he'll say that, oh, the plight that you're experiencing is all in your delusion, man. We're not oppressing people. All while they blockade countries like Cuba. They steal the oil and resources of countries like Venezuela. You know? They go to the mountainous regions of Afghanistan and the Hindu Kush and take their resources, man. That's why America has such a fentanyl problem, which you never heard about fentanyl until after they went to take over the poppy seeds in Afghanistan, man. Now all of a sudden you have a big, what do they call it, an epidemic? which that's the Most High, putting a curse on his ass, man. For stealing things that are not his. This is Micah chapter 2, verse 1. It says, woe, which woe means destruction, to them that devise. To devise something means to scheme, to plot it out. And that's what they do with their think tanks, with their secret meetings, their Bilderberg groups, their trilateral commissions, etc., man. They try to find out ways to plot and to, destroy the people. That's why they came out with the realization that they were the ones behind the drug epidemic, man. They're the ones that invented crack cocaine and put it in the black communities to undermine them so they won't be on no equal footing. Same thing that happened with Myron Gaines's people, man, back centuries ago. They saw that the Israelites were becoming powerful, so they put them in hard labor, man. And then they want you to believe that, it's a modern marvel. It had to have been aliens that came and built the pyramids. But pyramids are wherever Israelites go, man. You got pyramids here in the Americas. It even mentions pyramids in the Apocrypha in the Maccabees, man, which they're nothing but sepulchres or coffins. Where sometimes they might put treasures in there. So what Esau does, he follows the same heathen blueprint on how to keep the true Israelites, the true children of Israel down, man. And the number one oppressive thing that they do is to try to keep us away from our God, man. To strip us of that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah Ba'ashem HaKwadash, man. To have us going and be game bangers and drug dealers and pimps and prostitutes. Because that's how they stay in power. But now the Most High has raised his spiritual army, starting with the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and has them standing upon their feet, man. It says, woe to them that devise iniquity, which iniquity is sins upon sins, man. Things that are contrary to the law, statutes, and commandments, man. And everything that this damn devil does is to get you to break the laws of the Heavenly Father, man. Even something so seemingly minuscule as cooking your meat all the way through, man. They shame you if you want well done meat, man. They want you to eat bloody meat because why? It breaks the laws of the Heavenly Father, man. That's just one thing, man. Another is being fruitful and multiplying, man. They don't want you to have too many children, man. They say the world is overpopulated, man. When that's far from the truth. They do that because they know they're decreasing in their numbers. Their women don't want them. Their women desire Jacob. Whatever tribe he may be, man. And the only reason why these people are in power is through prophecy and divine manifestation, man. It's the will of Yahweh, man. Because the theatrics of Yahweh Shah coming back to deliver us is going to be out of this world, man. And that's going to be to glorify Yahweh Shah, as when he was here, he glorified Yahweh, man. There's an order to things, man. And then in return, in the kingdom of heaven, the Israelites that are not of the elect, they're going to glorify the elect. And then the heathens, they're going to glorify the rest of the nations of Israel and, you know, the power structure. You know? It says, and work evil upon their beds. Right, so they come up with these certain thought processes, you know, before they go to sleep. That's why, you know, people are always wondering, why the hell do these people always worry about the people on this sign? Why are they so infatuated about the people on this sign, man? They're always talking about us. Even the so-called white woman, she's always saying, well, they want to know if I ever dated a so-called a darkie, a brown skin. Every time that they, you know, meet a new white boy, they want to know if they've been tainted. And it poses the question, you know, why are they so infatuated with us? You know? It's all going back to the womb, man. These are two different spirits that have been fighting since the womb, man. Warring against each other. As Apostle Tahar would say, having WWE matches. Probably trying to strangle each other with each other's umbilical cord, man. Because mind you, when they were born, Esau came out first, but Jacob was holding onto his heel. Almost like, get your punk ass back down here, man, so you get this work. You know? It says, when the morning is light, so as soon as the sun rises, they're trying to do some wicked things, wicked shit, man. And that's the spirit of these damn devils, man. They can't help themselves. You know? Just like Jake, he can't help himself being righteous. That's why you niggas feel so convicted in the spirit. You feel so guilty when you do wrong. And you know you're doing wrong, man. And quite frankly, oppression is no excuse, man. That's more so of an opportunity to turn back onto the Heavenly Father even more, to seek Him 10 times more. You know? It says they practice it because it is in the power of their hand, right? Because we're in the times of the Gentiles, man. We're in the times, the ages, or the age in which these heathen nations are to rule. And the top heathen nation is Esau. That's why he's in power right now, man. You know? And we're seeing that it's not because of his military, because his military is getting its ass handed to him. He has to call these numerous ceasefires, man. And if these heathen nations were wise, they wouldn't even honor it. But it's the Most High that's controlling the battle, man. You know? It's the Most High's version of shock and awe. It's the Most High's version of epic fury, man. Because it's the Heavenly Father that is controlling all these things. And it's going to lead right to their destruction, man. It's going to lead right to them being wiped off the face of the earth. And starting with their rich elite, those that are on those bunkers, being put into slavery. And through them, the rest of them are going to come back. Those that died here in America, and in various places around the world, to serve slavery for 1,000 years and then to be exterminated, man. To never exist again. It says, and they covet fields. To covet means to want. That's why you seeing them in everyone's land, and as soon as somebody talks about how they made a discovery, then that's when, you know, they come out the woodworks, man. It's like they peeking behind the door. Oh, you got vibranium? This motherfucker got vibranium. And then you see the bald eagle, and then you see the caption, freedom. They need freedom. You know? Which vibranium is just a made up a marvel metal. But you get the gist of it, man. You know, uranium, gold, oil. Soon as these heathen nations speak about these things, that's when you see the eagle flying above, man. And then they're going to capitalize on things that these nations do that align with the scriptures, man. And saying that they need freedom. They need freedom. Because it's big business with these damn devils to constantly go into war. That's how they prop up this capitalistic society, man. By constant, everlasting wars, man. Where they could also feed the military industrial complex and having them buy all this equipment that don't even fucking work, man. That is outdated. You know? Which they need to get their money back. It says, and take them by violence. So they go and take these people's resources by violence through their military, man. That's why you see Jake with a heart that went over there to go kill for this damn devil. They always question the mission, man. They always question why the fuck we was even over there. To guard the poppy fields? To seize the oil? And then this damn devil wondering why people are mad through his oppressive ways, man. And that's why you see the hand of the wicked, which is the laborer, rising up against him, man. It says in houses, yeah, they'll take away a nigga's house. Nigga get filled with pride. They got a house. Well, Esau could take it away if you don't pay the land tax, you don't pay the property tax. Or he could just say, oh, eminent domain. We need this land. It happened to one of my friends when I was growing up. They eminent domain they ass, man, because they wanted to build a freeway through where his house was at, man. He ended up having to move to a shit town called Dinuba. Then, you know, lost contact, and that's all she wrote, man. So you don't own shit here, man. I don't own this fucking car, man. That was a gift. I don't pay a car note, but I don't own this car. That was a gift, even though I got the pink slip, man. Because, you know, they could do whatever the hell they want to. They could plant drugs. They could put a gun somewhere. Shit, they could put shit in there that I didn't even know I even had in there, because I did it. And say, oh, we're going to have to confiscate this thing, man. That's what happened to an individual I knew. He said he had a nice Camaro, and he was doing donuts or whatever he was saying he was doing, and they ended up confiscating his car, man. Because the cop wanted to give it to one of his kids. Now, how much of that story is true, I don't know. Niggas be capping. You know, but it's not too far-fetched looking at the pattern of this damn devil and what he does. What he's known for doing, man. It says, and take them away so they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. Even his heritage, man. See, they're not the Vikings. They're not the Israelites. They're not the Jews. You know, just like I remember maybe 20 years ago, ESPN had a piece in which they depicted Michael Vick as being a so-called white boy 100 years from then. You know? But there were none of those things, man. All they do is steal, rob, grape, and destroy. And they live and prosper, and their prosperity was built on the blood on the people on this side, man. And they want you to just get over it. But yet, they want you to commemorate shit that probably didn't even happen the way that they said it happened. Talking about Nazi Germany. Which the one that won Man of the Year, and I believe he won the Nobel Peace Prize, Adolf Schicklgruber, which name was changed to Hitler due to a clerical error. They want you to believe in there being a Holocaust, which really, they were killing the people on this side that were in Germany, man. Trading places. That's the damn devil for you, man. It says, therefore, thus saith Yahweh, behold, against this family do I devise the evil. So the Heavenly Father is devising the evil against these people, man. And it's going to be epic. It's going to be epic fury times a gazillion. And hey, rightfully so, man. You have to be mindful that the judgment that Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is going to lay down is righteous judgment, man. It says, from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go haughtily, proudly, arrogantly, because that's the spirit of these damn devils. They'll murder 2 to 3 million people since 9/11 and act like they ain't do nothing wrong, man. Act like it was justified. But then they'll look at a nigga and, you know, they'll emphasize his poor behavior if he goes out and kills another nigga or goes out and kills an Edomite woman, man. Then they want to go to war. That goes back to one of us, all of yours, man. You know? And that 2 to 3 million people, that was just in Iraq, in Afghanistan, man. That's not even dealing with what transpired here in America. All the lynchings, all the police brutality, all the murders that got covered up, the grapes. You had Officer Holtzclaw going around and sexually SAing over 400 black women, man. Doing it because in his mind, he felt he could get away with it because nobody gives a shit about the people on this side, man. I was meditating the other day and I was, came to the realization that it's stupid to commit murder, man. Watching the whole David fiasco. It's stupid to commit murder because that person's spirit goes back to the spirit world and cries on to the Heavenly Father, man. And the Heavenly Father is going to bring about justice. You're going to get caught. Everyone gets caught. No one gets away, man. You know? That's why it's dumb to do it. It's more beneficial to forgive. Or, walk away. It says, against this family do I devise an evil from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go haughtily, for this time is evil. So we're in evil times, man. For the sake of time, I'm going to go back to Genesis. But we're in evil times. The Most High is going to get, what's the word, retribution? Because you're touching the apple of his eye, man. Going back to Genesis chapter 25, verse 22, it says, and the children, the sons, struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? What she was asking the heavenly, what the hell going on here? Shit, is this an alien trying to pop out? Is this a xenomorph? These bunch of xenomorphs about to blow my chest open? Is these kaijus hunting each other down? It says, and she went to inquire of Yahweh, and Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. So the people on this side and these Edomites, we're 2 manner of people, man. We're oil and water. We don't mix. But yet he wants to integrate everybody, man. And now to bring confusion, he wants to segregate everybody again, man. But these are 2 manner of people. We're 2 different people, man. We have 2 different spirits. It says, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people. And Jacob is the one that is stronger than the other people, man. That's why we dominate in all things. That's why they have to set up impediments to prevent us from overtaking their ass, man. Pause. That's why they have to pass different laws and legislations and act like, they're not oppressive. To pretend as if we have a fair shot. It says, and the elder shall serve the younger. So before he even sold his birthright for some red meat, man, some uncooked meat, it was already set in stone that the elder was going to serve the younger, man. And that's why he has such a vendetta against the Heavenly Father, man. That's why he doesn't do anything that the Heavenly Father requires man to do. So you really can't pinpoint it to solely him selling his birthright, because it already said that the elder was going to serve the younger, man. And this is, the kingdom of heaven is not the first time this happened, man. It was going on during the dark ages. We were ruling over these damn devils, man. We civilized these damn devils, but now they want to say that they civilized us, which is a lie. And that's the reason why they don't want you to go into history. They don't want you to read a book. They put you to death for reading the Bible, man. They whipped your ass for reading, and they put you to death for reading the Bible, man. It says that when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, they were twins in her womb. Now, they weren't identical twins. And the first came out red. Now, the reason why Esau is described and not Jacob, because Jacob looked like everyone else. This is the rebirth of Cain and the fulfillment of him having that mark. The mark of Cain, which is to have clean leprosy, man. To have no melanin, to have no pigmentation. That's the mark of Cain, man. And that's the reason why his blood shows forth through his skin. But they want you to believe that that's the dominant and most pristine level of beauty. And it's not. They're like a anomaly. They're a glitch in the system. It says all over like a hairy garment. Right, so he was described as being hairy, man. And throughout the scriptures, it talks about how he's a hairy man. And for the most part, these people are hairy, man. That's why, you know, they got to get waxes. They got to shave. You know, for the most part, Jake, he's smooth. He's a smooth man. I don't grow that much hair myself. You know? My arm, see, sometimes I see bitches that got fucking lambskin hair on their arms. I don't have hair on my arms like that, man. You know? I don't know, maybe it's to protect them through the brush. You know, but predominantly these are hairy people, man. Just as their forefather. It says, and they called his name Esau, Ashashua, which means wasted away is he. Because he had no pigment. And you see that happening among dark-skinned people all the time. It's called albinoism, man. Where you have two dark-skinned couples that will produce a child that has no pigmentation, man. They look like they're so-called white. They have the blonde hair and the blue eyes, man, which is biblical leprosy, man. It's a curse. It says, and after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel. And his name was called Jacob, and Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. He was 60 years old. A score is 20. So 80 is 60. And it was symbolic. This is 2 Ezra, chapter 6, verse 7. It says, I'll start at verse 6. Then did I consider these things, and they all were made through me alone, and through none other. By me also they shall be ended, and by none other. Then answered I and said, what shall be the part of the sunder of the times, the age? Right? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. So these so-called white people that go back to the line of Esau, Edomites, they were going to be in rule before the Messiah came, man. Before the parting asunder of times, till we transition into eternity, immortality. which that immortality is only going to be experienced by the people on this sign, man. Starting with the elect. So we know that whoever's ruling right now, they're going to be destroyed, man. And it just so happens that the ones that are ruling right now, they call themselves so-called white people, man. Verse 9, it says, for Esau is the end of the world. So Esau is the end of the world, man. The new founding fathers, a.k.a. MAGA. They're the end of the world, man. And we're, as each and every day passes, we're coming closer and closer to that end. It says, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So the people that are to rule next are going to be you so-called blacks, Latinos, and indigenous of America, man, which you so-called Native Americans, you weren't the first people here, man. In all actuality, King Solomon was the first ones here commissioning, I think his name was Hiram, the Hamite, to bring convoys over here, to bring back exotic fruits, animals, trees back to Jerusalem, man. And then after the Assyrian captivity, that's when you came over here collectively, because you already had known about this place through Solomon. You know? So going to Copilot, it says the war starts in the womb. 2 nations are in thy womb, and the elder shall serve the younger. Key, the conflict is ordained before birth. This isn't just brother beef, it's divine election. Right? Etymology for nation, goy, already shows this is about future peoples, not just 2 men. Let's go to a precept in Romans, which this was Paul speaking to the Israelites in Rome. This is Romans chapter 9, verse 11. It says, for the children being not yet born, so them not being yet born, right? Neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of the Most High, according to election, might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. So this is the Most High's program, man. You know, previous camps I said TOAA, the one above all, relating him to the Marvel entity that's the equivalent of one that is all powerful, but really Yahweh is more powerful than that. Yahweh created the imagination of man to even construct these certain comic books, man. You know? Since, you know, everybody's in that spirit of, you know, doom and God, Emperor, doom and all that others. Well, I've been in that spirit, you know, paying attention to it a little bit. No, I don't watch that prison shit no more. I started watching that prison shit and ended up in jail. So you gotta watch, you gotta be mindful of what you're looking at, man. The things that you watch. You know, because not everything is good for you, man. You know? Just like you have a lot of these niggas, they watch drug dealing movies and drug dealing shit all day, man. You have a lot of these weird ass women that need to watch a horror movie before they go to sleep, man. They need to watch somebody getting cut up and chopped up, man. Now, don't get me wrong, man. I like watching a good horror movie. Well, you know, you see Edom. I might watch one when I get home. Shit, who knows? You know, seeing these Edomites getting chopped up, man. But before you go to sleep, though, that's weird. That's weirdo behavior, man. It says, it was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger. So this was predestined before they were even born, that the elder shall serve the younger, man. So it went even beyond him selling his birthright, man. This was written in stone before he even was thinking he was going to die from not having any food or water, man. Which that whole scenario just exhibited a lack of faith and a lack of respect to the Heavenly Father, just as he had when he was Cain. Sacrifice of fruits and vegetables, man, when Yahweh requires blood, man. Why you think our people like to barbecue all the time, man? You know? Esau, he don't really like the barbecue. He likes to eat this shit raw, man. Or he might eat it right after the kill, man. Some of them drink the blood of their kill. They tear into the flesh while the heart is still pumping. These people are savages, man. And they want us to be the spear chucking savages. We were never spear chuckers, man. Those were the Hamites. Even in your own Zondervan Bible Dictionary, it states that there's a difference between the dark nations, man. That's why when you look at the ancient maps, it talks about kingdoms. And even in that time, Mali was a very rich and thriving kingdom, man. You know? Very royal garments, gold, chains. See, they get mad because we got the Cuban links. We got the chains around our necks. That's in the Bible, man. You don't see those goats over there in our land. They don't be having no chains around their neck. You know? They don't even got no rhythm, man. That's a weird creature, man. Those people that live in our land, that don't even follow the Bible, man. They follow the Talmud. It says, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. And they want to say that God doesn't hate, man. Well, they're going to experience a ton of hate real soon, man. This is Genesis chapter 27, and I'm going to start at verse 38. It says, and Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Because, you know, Jacob's name means supplanter, and he supplanted Esau of his birthright for Esau to live in eternity as a immortal. So since he got supplanted of his birthright, the way he's going to try to achieve immortality is merging with machines, man. Becoming a cyborg. You know? Putting a microchip in everybody, man. Judging the world through his artificial intelligence. They showed you that in that movie with Chris Pratt called Mercy, man. Where people are going to stand in front of an AI judge, man. You know? And you're going to have to determine your innocence in front of artificial intelligence, man. That's what this world is coming to. And it might be here before the end of the year. It says, and Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants. Oh, Slakia. Verse 38, it says, and Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father, bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. So he was hysterical. He was crying when he was saying these things, man. Excuse me. I think parking is free on the weekends. Yeah. But you can double check on the sign. Right, but if you like park over here, right there. Get back to the combat seat. Just in case Satan try to blow the laptop off, man. So, you know, and you see that in his demeanor. You can see that in his kids, man. How they be crying like a mother effer when they don't get their way, man. They want to destroy shit. They want to kill their parents. They want to shove foreign objects up their rectum, man. You know? This is the type of man that you're dealing with. And this damn devil got the nerve to try to make it seem as if we're the monster, man. Which, you know, 2/3 of our people are monsters. Because they're following after you. Sign might blow down though. Ooh, dust. You know, but it says, and Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth. And that's why he's in everybody's land, man. That's why they got a term called Yankee Go Home. Because he's in everybody's land trying to dictate everybody else's life. Trying to put his reprobate spirit on all these nations in the world, man. To be as demonic as he is, man. And then when you try to be on his level, then he accuses you of being a criminal, and he takes you down, man. You got these people that are jumping up and down about David murdering, which I believe he killed her, Celeste Rivas, you know, but that's what the so-called white man has been doing for centuries. Raping, robbing, and murdering, man. What do you think the whole Epstein files is all about, man? The same shit that they were doing in chattel slavery that they're still doing to this day, man. You're just not a part of the club. What about the one movie with Ice-T? I forget the exact name of it, where they were hunting down niggas, man. They're still doing that to this day. But when you do it, then that's when they're gonna demonize you. When you niggas go out in the hood, in the barrio, and go to hunt down each other, then that's when they're gonna throw the book at your ass, man. It's on some do as I say, don't do as I do. It says, and of the dew of heaven from above. That's why the top two nations that are in outer space are Edomite nations, man. Which is Russia and the United States. Verse 40, it says, and by thy sword, which is his military, shalt thou live. And the Most High set it up. Whether it was the Greek Empire, which took over Persia, subjugated Persia, and eventually got control over the whole Mediterranean and Northern Africa and so on and so forth, Asia Major, Asia Minor. You know, they had a military advantage. The Roman Empire, they had a military advantage. I believe that was the Bronze Age. And then the American military has a military advantage through atomic weaponry, man. Nobody's in no laboratory trying to construct ways to kill everybody, man, aside from this damn devil, man. People are normally just go heads up. They don't fly drones half the world away just to bomb a church, just to bomb a school, man. You know? And really, these damn devils can't fight unless it's a group of them. Or unless they got the nigga be cool tool. Like Chud the Builder. He's only doing that because he's strapped up. But there was a story in which these two individuals were fighting each other. A so-called, what perceived to be a so-called white boy and a so-called black boy. And they just ended up offing each other, man. I think one died later than the other. But they both ended up shooting each other, man. That's what's going to happen to Chud the Builder and all these other different personalities when the Most High finally punches their card in, man. Punches in their ticket. You know? It says, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And they're going to serve, they served us during the Dark Ages until it was their time to rule. And that's when the Most High sent the plague. Whether it, well, I forget what it was, the Black Plague or the bubonic plague. So they could eventually come into power. It says, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And we're now in Esau's dominion. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his mind, the days of mourning for my father are at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob, which is the same spirit of Cain, man. And that's the reason why you hate us so much. And then, you know, you heathen nations, you hate us so much because, you know, we put you niggas through hell too, man. I ain't gonna lie. No, when we're in power, we put y'all through hell too, man. So I guess ultimately what goes around comes around, right? Now we're about to come back into power. We're going to put you heathens in 1,000 years of slavery, man. But unlike Esau, we're going to give you your lands back, man. It says, and these words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah. So he's telling Rebekah, his mama, I'm going to kill this nigga, man. You know? I'm going to kill Jacob. Not understanding that it was already set in stone for him to lose. and us to win before he was supplanted. You know? And she sent and called Jacob her younger son, and said unto him, Behold, thy brother Esau, as touching thee, doth comfort himself, purposing to kill thee. So these damn devils, they comfort themselves, having the purpose to kill the people on this side, man. To try to put them back into slavery, or to try to genocide them or exterminate them, man. That's why they devise iniquity, man. But they only could go so far. They're only going to go as far as Yahweh Hashem Yahushua allows them, man. Going back to Copilot, it says, and Esau hated Jacob, then will I slay my brother Jacob. The text explicitly says Esau hated Jacob. That hatred becomes national policy in Edom. Hated, Sanai, is the same root used of enemies. This is deep, enduring hostility. So that's what these damn devils have against us. They have that deep, enduring hostility, man. That's why they always ask their women, have they been tainted? Have you been infected with the glow? You know? Because, you know, once they get the glow, they don't never want to go back, man. Because naturally, man, Jake, for the most part, they make love to their woman. They don't just hump on them like a fucking rabid animal, man. Making grunts and making all them noises and shit. You know? Real quick precept. This is Amos chapter 1 verse 11. It says, Thus saith Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and they pursue us with the sword till this day. Like my man, the Bronze Bomber says, man. I forgot that nigga name already. Till this day. They're still pursuing us with the sword, man. So when it's our turn, what's going to happen to these damn devils? And they don't believe in the furthest imagination of their mind that it's ever going to happen to them, man. That's why I say if they lose in Iran, which they're going to lose in Iran, they're going to lose everywhere, man. You know? Especially when the Most High puts a spirit on his people to take action. Lights, camera, action, man. As, you know, pursuing Jeremiah the 51st chapter, that his people, dealing with you so-called blacks, Latinos, and the indigenous of America, are his battle axes and weapons of war, man. And then when we get, or Slakia, when the elect gets spiritual power, man, oh man. I was watching Hancock. Yesterday, and it reminded me myself, man. And you know, the transition in which Hancock was making, reforming himself and becoming more and more perfected. You know, that's what the Most High's been doing. He's been perfecting the elect. And then he's going to allow them to have spiritual powers. And then that's when these women are going to want to, you know, get with a man of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, man. When they see the power, man. Which, really, we already got the power because we have the truth. And according to that little boy in the movie The Road, we got the fire too. You got the fire? You know? It says, because they delivered up the whole captivity to Slakia. Because he did pursue his brother with the sword and did cast off all pity. So he casted off all pity, man. He ain't give a shit when he had us in slavery. He don't give a shit when he's hanging little boys that are basically defenseless. Because Esau, he operates as a mob when he goes about trying to lynch people, man. When he sends in his slave catchers, the police, they come in as a mob. They come in with numbers, man, against one individual to overwhelm that individual, man, because they're cowards. You know? That's why they're about to play that card, kill for peace, where you see the cop on the ground and someone has their foot on their hand and the gun is away from their hand, man. You know? It says, and his anger did tear perpetually. Perpetually mean long lasting. He had long lasting anger, man. It says, and he kept his wrath forever. So he has long enduring wrath forever, and this is why they hate us. And aside from you just popping their women, you can't trust these damn devils, man. You shouldn't want to be their friend. You should just want to pop their women, man. Which their women are starting to go to the gym. They're starting to eat healthy. They're practicing on how to be a woman and being affectionate. And some want to transition to being ethnic and having ethnic styling. Because really they're getting ready for Jake. A lot of those moans and groans is going to be the white man getting piped down in the kingdom of heaven, man. Kingdom of heaven ain't gonna be too bad for a lot of you women, especially if you look good, because your whole thing is just gonna get piped down. Being concubines. A white woman's fantasy, man. Her deepest, darkest secret. She don't want you dog-smelling demons. She want Jake, man. This is Ezekiel chapter 35, verse 1. It says, moreover, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it, and say unto it, thus saith Yahweh, behold, O Mount Seir, which Mount Seir is where they're originally from, which is located in modern-day Jordan, man. You know? It says, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. I will lay thy cities waste. And America's going to be wiped off the face of the earth in nuclear destruction, man. Which the Most High, he's going to control all the nation's arsenals and shoot them on America. His son, Yahweh Shai, is going to come with the thousands of angels and shoot their weapons on America, man. And thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am Yahweh, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred. So the reason why you so-called white people are about to be punished is because of that perpetual hatred, that long-lasting hatred toward the people on this side, man. You know? And has shed the blood of the children of Yasha'Allah, by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, which that time was during us fleeing the Romans, which you were the Romans, and then going into the interiors of Africa, the sub-Saharan, all the way to the western seaboard of Africa, which is called modern day. And then you got in touch with the Arabs in the triangular slave trade to gather us up and put us on boats to take us all the way over here to the Americas, in which you put us through hell, man. So you got to pay for that, man. It says, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Right, we weren't supposed to go back into slavery, man. But because of that perpetual hatred, that long-lasting hatred, you forced that upon us. You know? It says, therefore, as I live, says Yahweh, I will prepare thee unto blood. So now the Most High is preparing you damn devils on the blood, man. And blood shall pursue thee, since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth. So now modern day Mount Seir is America, man, because America is going to be destroyed, man. No ifs, ands, buts about it, man. So you can say whatever you want, trying to demonize Jake, even you heathens. You say whatever you want, trying to demonize Jake, man. But you won already, man. And you lost. This is Malachi chapter 1, verse 1. The burden of the word of Yahweh to Yasha'Allah by Malachi. I have loved you, saith Yahweh. Yet you say, where hast thou loved us? So that's, what our people have in their minds. When have you loved us, man? You put us through all this hell. You got this damn devil over us. The bases of men, he's all prospering. He's prospering off the resources that he stole from us. You know, his medical industry was built upon him dissecting us. His science is built on our backs. You know, when have you loved us? It says, was not Esau's Jacob's brother, saith Yahweh? Yet I love Jacob. And he did. That's why he set it up so that Jacob was going to get the victory, man. It says, and I hated Esau. So for all you that don't think that the Most High hates, you're sadly mistaken, man. And you're going to experience that divine hatred that he's going to have for these so-called white people, man. And laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Which, you know, this happened during those 2 stints in which he was in the caves, man. Which he wants you to put that far, far in the distant future, that future didn't even exist. Millions and billions of years ago, man. Which is all madness. He recently crawled his ass up out of those caves, man. It wasn't no millions or billions of years ago. It says, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. And this is him returning, building the desolate places, man. The world that you see now. Thus saith Yahweh of armies, they shall build, but I will throw down. And they shall call them the border of wickedness, on how not to be, man. When America is wiped off the face of the earth, it's going to be said, this is how you should not be. You know? And the people against whom Yahweh have indignation, righteous anger, forever, for all time, man. Because his purpose is to exterminate them, man. So there's no reason for you damn devils to be proud, man. The way that you achieved your feats was demonic. Going to co-pilot says the Most High himself declares love for Jacob, hatred for Esau. This is covenantal, not emotional mood. Etymology, heritage of wickedness, and indignation forever show a long-term generational judgment. And I already read Romans. But I'll read it again. This is Romans chapter 9, verse 13. It says, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. And this is further proof that a lot of you don't understand the Bible, nor do you read the scriptures, because then you will understand that the Heavenly Father does hate. A lot of the shit that you believe in is taught by the precepts of men, tradition, and bullshit, really, man. Quotes Obadiah. So for all you Chud the builders and all you Myron Gaines and all you Gypsy Kings, your time is coming, man. You can say all the shit that you want to say, but hey, when those clouds crack, if you're even alive still, that's your ass, man. You're gonna be destroyed. I don't believe Myron Gaines is an Israelite. I think he's a fucking Hamite, man. Now, whether that's his real name, I don't know too many Sudanese niggas with that last name Gaines. And this nigga said, or allegedly, was born in Sudan. And it's based upon your father. And you look like a individual from that region, man. This is what you guys have to understand. Just because you're dark skinned doesn't mean you're black. Doesn't mean you're an Israelite. You know? It's based upon your spirit. And you got the spirit of a fucking Edomite, man. That's why, you know, you're such a coconut. This is Obadiah, verse 18. It says, in the house of Jacob shall be a fire, in the house of Joseph a flame, which just represents northern and southern kingdom, but in the kingdom of heaven, all Israelites are going to be one. In the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau. For Yahweh have spoken it. So there ain't going to be no more remaining of the house of Esau, man. So do you really want to be a so-called white boy or an Edomite? Because there's going to be a time in which you ain't going to exist. This is Psalms chapter 50, verse 16. It says, but unto the wicked, which there's three classifications of men, the sons of the wicked, the sons of God, and the sons of men. Esau is the sons of the wicked, man. It says, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes? Right, he says that he's the actual people of the Bible. says that God looks like him, which is all blasphemy, man. You're Satan out here, man. I told you. Start talking about that about Esau. The wind be blowing. Satan be out here in full effect, man. So like I was saying, there's 3 classifications of men. Sons of God, which are you so-called blacks, Latinos, and indigenous. You have the sons of men, which are the rest of these heathen nations. Then you have the sons of the wicked, which is the so-called white man. No? Not today, Satan. No, it ain't his fault. This is Psalms chapter 50, verse 16. But unto the wicked the Most High saith, what hast thou to declare my statutes? Right, saying that they're God-fearing, they believe in the Bible, but they don't do nothing that the Bible tells people to do. They live contrary to the scriptures, man. It says, or that thou or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth. Right. Seeing thou hatest instruction. So they have the spirit on them to hate instruction, man. And casteth my words behind thee. That's why I always say they don't follow the scriptures. They don't follow the Bible. They might make it seem, deceive you into believing that they do. They might want you to, or to follow the laws that they allow you to follow. But behind closed doors, they don't follow the scriptures, man. It says, when thou sawest a thief, then thou consentest with him, and hast been partaker with adulterers. Thou givest thy mouth to do evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit. Right, they're always lying about Jake, man. You know, they tried to fuck us up with the Babylonians. They try to fuck us up with Haman, man. It says, thou sittest and speakest against thy brother. That's why they're called the accuser of our brethren. Right? Thou slanderest thy own mother's son. Right? Which is speaking about Jacob, man. You know, they slander us. That's why they always try to bring out their bullshit statistics. Talking about per capita. Well, according to them, we've been 13% since we got here, man. We don't grow, we don't increase. And then when you actually go to the statistics, they're the ones that are leading to every category, man. They're even killing themselves. They're leading suicide. It says, these things hast thou done, and I kept silent. So you think that the Most High is with you because he hasn't did nothing yet. Well, he's about to crack his knuckles on you motherfuckers, man. And get to work. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such as one as thyself, but I will reprove thee. Reprove meaning to correct. So all you weak, frail Edomites, you so-called white boys, you're going to be reproved. You're going to get that divine correction, man. And we're going to take your woman. You try to depict King Kong as taking the white woman. Oh, yeah, we're going to take your woman, man. It says, and set them in order before thy eyes. And we're being set in order right now. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem HaRachachodash, and his word, and the men that he gave his word to, which is the great millstone, man. Starting with the men before them, starting with John the Baptist, a.k.a. Abba Bivens, all the way down to King Mashal, which the reason why I believe that's King David, because I received a dream confirming he was King David, man. Not because I'm believing in what somebody else is saying, but through revealed or the revealing that Yahweh Shem Yahweh sent me through a dream that confirmed in my spirit that that's King David, man. You know, all the way down to the, Apostle Tahar and the elders that we see today, man. It says, and set them in order before thy eyes. Now consider this, ye that forget the Most High, lest I tear you in pieces, and there be none to deliver. So unlike the one above all in the comics, Yahweh is actually going to get busy and tear you people to pieces, man. And he's going to use his angels. It says, whoso offereth praise glorifieth me, and to him that ordereth his conversation, his conduct, aright will I show the salvation of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man. So going back to co-pilot, it says, a nation that holds the Bible, claims the covenant, but hates the laws, fits Esau ruling as Christian power. Which a lot of you dumbasses, you call yourselves Christian, which Christian was a derogatory term given to the Israelites in Antioch, Rome, man. So you're an idiot for calling yourself a Christian. The proper terminology that you should use is an Israelite, from whatever perspective tribe. There's 12 tribes, which each tribe is a nation in itself, man. Etymology, wicked, Rasha is lawless, criminal, which criminal goes back to the color crimson, which is red, man. So the real criminals, you so-called white people, you Edomites. That's why they got a term called caught red-handed. It says, yeah, he declares so far the statutes, precept name. So it goes to the book of Obadiah. Obadiah chapter, it was only one chapter, Slaki. I meant to say verse. Obadiah verse 1. It says, the vision of Obadiah, thus saith Yahweh concerning Edom. So this is directed to you so-called white people, man. We have heard a rumor from Yahweh, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Which this first ambassador, which now there's many, but the first was Abdul Nazir, the president of Egypt, who made the quote, how did the Jews leave black but come back white? It says, is sin among the heathen, arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. So these heathen nations are going to rise up against you so-called white people in battle, man. And it's the Most High that is mustering the host, gathering the host together, gathering the armies together, man. It says, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Right, you're being looked down upon, man, and discussed. Doesn't necessarily mean that your numbers are small. It's talking about people are looking down on you with disgust, man. It says, thou art greatly despised. The pride of thy heart have deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. And that's why they call you Caucasian, which means cave dweller, man. Which you had two stints in the caves. You had Mount Seir, and then you had the Caucasus Mountains, man. And when you were in the Caucasus Mountains, you have people that were documenting that, man. That's why you have a book called The 13th Tribe, man. You know? In the same way you lived in the Caucasus Mountains is the same spirit that you try to deploy here in America, man, and all throughout the world, man. A very vile, degenerate spirit, man. It says, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Proof of that is where is it at? I think the strata's over there, the stratosphere. So you can see, yeah, it's right there. So you can see the world from a bird's eye view, man. You know? And you don't think anybody's going to be able to destroy you militarily. And you see that spirit in Donald J. Trump every time he opens up his mouth to speak, man. You know, lying. Not wanting to reveal the truth that, you know, those American troops are getting their asses whooped, man. That's why gas is $6.25 right now here in Vegas, man. I just filled up on my way over here, man. Only got a 3-cent discount, man. They ain't even giving no meaningful discounts. You know? It says, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and that's why you chose the eagle as your mascot. It's the highest flying, the proudest bird. And though thou set thy nest, which the nest is your defenses. You got a space force, you got weapons in outer space. Some pointing to the earth and some pointing to the heavens to combat Yahweh Shah on his return, man. And though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith Yahweh. And your decline started when you lied and told the world that you went to the moon, man. Which all that is nothing but a psyop, man. I'm going to jump around because I already read a lot of these scriptures and, you know, I got some time, but I'm not going to be out here forever. It's just like in the movie Boys in the Hood, I got shit to do. Shit. And it's not like that, I'm just being facetious, man. But I do got to take a piss. This is Psalms chapter 137, verse 7. It says, remember, O Yahweh, the children of Edom. Remember the children of Edom. Which today, the children of Edom started calling themselves white in 1681 due to the Bacon rebellions, man. So that's all a lie, man. They're not white. We're not black. That's why when we first came over here, they sold us as Hebrew slaves, man. You know? So they're nothing but a bunch of lying pieces of shit. It says, remember, O Yahweh, the children of Edom, in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, which is to burn it, even to the foundation thereof. Right? And they did this all throughout history with the flooding our cities and turning them into lakes, turning them into parks, you know, bombing our cities like Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street. You know, they always had ill intent toward us, man, and trying to destroy and undermine us. And then tell us to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps and get over it. You know? And today, now, they're biblically referenced as the third Babylon, man. Which Babel, where you get the word Babylon, means confusion, man. There ain't nothing but confusion here in America, man. It says, O daughter of Babylon, who ought to be destroyed. Happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us. Right. So the Israelites are going to put you into 1,000 years of slavery, man. It says double according to her works. You know? So we experience roughly 500, you're going to experience 1,000. You know? It says, happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. Right, so the same violence that you brought upon our people and our children, whether it was the Taino Indians, the so-called Puerto Ricans, where you cut the fetus out of the womb, or whether, you know, even in Florida, where you cut the fetus out of the womb and use it as alligator bait, that's going to happen to your weirdo children, man. You know? That's called divine justice. Going to co-pilot, it says, when Jerusalem fell, Edom cheered and helped. This is family betrayal at a national level. You know? So all you people talking shit, all you little, which I believe a lot of you are set up. You know, a lot of you got ex-government backgrounds. A lot of you are just set up, man. What do they call it? Fuck. Not COINTELPRO, but I forget the exact term, but a lot of you are just set up, man. This is Isaiah chapter 34, verse 1. Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world, and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of Yahweh is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. This is foreshadowing, man. So the Heavenly Father is foreshadowing that all you heathens, including you so-called white people, you Edomites, your nation's armies are going to be destroyed. And we're in that time period right now, where these nations are going to get destroyed, man. It says he hath delivered them to the slaughter. You know, even the Russians, man. Even the Russians are going to get delivered to the slaughter, man. And they're the ones that are going to rise up against America and wipe America off the face of the earth. You know? Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. Meaning that their blood is going to be spilt, man. It says, and all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved because of the nuclear weaponry, and the heavens shall be rolled together